Our soul is a castle. It is a beautiful internal castle that extends to the divine and to God, Creator. And when we hold on to these emotions, when we don't acknowledge them and don't honor them, it becomes a dingy garage. Hello, you guys. So it's so interesting how the more I create and start putting my stuff out there, the more I get pushed or sort of just slightly nudged to certain directions. And I've actually recorded this episode on releasing emotional blocks already. I wrote a whole script and I recorded half of it. And I had to stop halfway because it was so long. And I realized that there was just more to it than just saying A, B, C, D. And today I'm going to share a little bit more about what I'm going through because as I'm moving through these topics, I think that it's even more powerful to share through my own experience what's going on. And I hope that it can help in an even more powerful way to help you release your emotional blocks. And this is what we're doing. We're stepping into soul alignment. And I'm even going to be speaking light language in this episode, which is really exciting. Part of my mission is to bring more light and to offer more of a resource of energy healing, that divine support for you, to be more of a conduit, which is what I'm stepping more into. And so instead of the ABC, this is what emotional blocks are, and this is how you clear them, I'm going to kind of walk you through how I cleared my own. So welcome. This is the 5 ways I release emotional blocks to step into soul alignment. Welcome back to the Inner Voice podcast, where we explore the whispers of the soul, the power of intuition, and the journey back to our most authentic selves. I'm Samantha, and today we're diving into something that so many of us struggle with: emotional blocks. Those heavy, invisible barriers that keep us stuck, disconnected, and out of alignment with our true essence. But here's the good news: we don't have to stay there. Today, I'm sharing 5 powerful ways I release emotional blocks and step fully into soul alignment. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's begin. Let's start with number 1, honoring emotions instead of suppressing them. It makes sense. How can you release something if you're not honoring it? For me, I equated being strong with pushing my emotions aside. If I didn't cry about it, and if I could just get through it and bypass these emotions, the stronger of a person that I was. And I didn't realize that in doing so, I was actually creating more resistance within myself, less acceptance, more resistance. The shift didn't happen until I decided to give myself permission without judgment, without rushing to fix anything. And once I started honoring how I truly felt and working on it, like it's actual work, it's years of unlearning to start learning who you are. The number one way that I found so helpful in honoring my emotions was therapy. Good old therapy. Finding a licensed therapist that you trust. And that is important because it's kind of like dating out there. You don't just find a therapist and just like talk to them. You have to resonate with them and you have to trust them and be able to tell them everything. It takes a few sessions to know. I think that's why it's a little hard sometimes, and there can be resistance to finding a therapist in the first place. But once you find that person, therapist, coach, just someone that you trust, you will then have a sounding board to the emotions that you're holding in a safe space. And from there, you gain resources, you gain knowledge, and you receive a mirror, a healthy, neutral mirror that has no agenda but to help you. And the more I normalized therapy in my life, I realized that a lot of people do it, and it's almost like a non-negotiable nowadays. So therapy is one of the tools that I highly recommend if you haven't seen a therapist, or if you haven't in a while, just start looking or consider finding that person. Again, it's going to be very difficult to release the blocks and find your aligned life if we're not honoring the blocks. And so, journaling is another safe space for your emotions. EFT tapping, which we'll get into, helps move the energy. And simply, not a lot of people think about this or do this as a practice, as a spiritual practice, but crying is a form of self-love that I haven't embraced before. And actually, crying is almost like stigmatized or taboo, or it because it's uncomfortable, naturally uncomfortable for a lot of people. Not a lot of people like to do it, but it is so powerful in releasing your emotional blocks. And the more you allow yourself, the more you're able to release and cleanse yourself of these emotions. So that's number one, is first and foremost honoring your emotions. Number two is releasing stored trauma through energy healing. Now, I'm going to be talking a lot about energy healing and providing tools for it. And I'm really excited about that because that is something that has changed my life completely. And before really diving into it, I had this fear of it because it is jumping into the unknown in such a way that you feel afraid that you might get attached to dark energy or that you're playing with the darkness. But again, the darkness is your shadow, the darkness is your ego. And we can befriend the ego. And when we do, we can work with it in a way where we're no longer afraid of it, but we use it as a tool. We use it as a part of ourselves. We acknowledge it, and we're able to step into this whole realm of ourselves, our energy field. So we store our emotions in our bodies. And if you think of our bodies and our divine being as an energy field, it's limitless and endless. Emotions, experiences, attachments, anything that you go through, even your thoughts get imprinted in this energy field. Stress, heartbreak, grief, it all leaves an imprint. And when I started exploring energy work, I started feeling the shift. I was actually even encouraged and supported by a licensed therapist that also, she wore different hats and she was an energy worker. She was a healer that practiced cosmo energy healing, where she tapped into the cosmos in a certain way. And that was another gateway for me to explore. But I've studied healing touch. I've received Reiki from Reiki masters, where they work on the specific energy centers in your body. And this is ancient knowledge that we're allowed to implement. It is allowing us to work on our own souls, our own spirits through language. I like to compare the spirit with a garage or this container, and applying energy work and using tools in this way, it was like clearing clutter, clearing emotional clutter. So at one point I did explain the soul as a garage, but what I know is that our soul is a castle. It is a beautiful internal castle that extends to the divine and to God, Creator. And when we hold on to these emotions, when we don't acknowledge them and don't honor them, it becomes a dingy garage. Okay. And I think that that's why I was explaining it as such, because I've been there and it is a lifetime journey. You don't clear your garage out and then you're good. Your attachments stay, and your attachments will continue to come up until you fully clear them. Some of them are inherited. And so it's like they're passed down from generations. And so we have a choice to leave them there or clear them out. I just like having this visualization. It helps me bring awareness and like really grasp the idea of what we are, right? And so an energy work helps clear your garage. It helps you go through each of those emotional attachments. And knowing the chakras helps you go through each of the energy centers that are associated with your emotions. So it's just a really helpful way to put language to your energy so that you could be more supported in clearing it. And this is how, through consistent practice of energy work, you step into a more aligned version of you. But the one most powerful way that I've moved through energy and that I've discovered recently is through light language. Light language is a soul level transmission that bypasses the mind and speaks directly to the heart and the energy field. And in my Catholic upbringing in Christianity, from what I know, is that they call it tongues. And this is where you are connecting to the Holy Spirit and to God and allowing it to just flow through you. And you are just the vessel, you are just the channel. Some background on this story of light language for me is that I discovered it through being more authentic and through expressing my authenticity through my voice. And the more that I did, the more that it would flow. And the more that I allow it to flow, the more I'm able to heal. And so it has become part of my mission to share this form of healing to others. And I'm not certified in it. I'm sure there's programs that I could take, but I think that the main way that I'm meant to express it is through my own tailored version, to encourage and to inspire your own tailored version of energy work and of healing. It's just a sacred way of communicating, and I want to share that. I'm going to be sharing an activation right now with you, a really quick one. I want you to feel the shift right here and now. And so if you are safe to do so, I invite you to close your eyes and place your hands over your heart, or you can place them on your lap, facing up in a relaxed and open position to receive this transmission. So take a deep breath. Iaranatiki anatakoshotatiaratakiam. Iamasatakia sakaratiam. And we're integrating alignment and releasing of emotional blocks right now. setting this intention in Didikariata Hayasoma Dati Iakisham Tatakiana Tatiana Nakorotos Tekeretiam Ia Makoshatasta Ratatasta Kretiana Dakim Yasaka Ia Mandato Kusumda Mokotosa Nalakaradiatia Shia Nandakatatiana Osomretiaka Oh Umahana Kareha Sahratea Umaya Katahom Shiata Hiahara Tatia Tatia Shi Datia Kiara Niahara Diasha Haratia Makatetian Ia Totasia Makat. Take some cleansing breaths and just allow the energy to integrate, allow it to be received as it's meant to. Keep breathing deeply and remaining still, aware of your body, and just observe. Notice how you feel. I love speaking light language. It feels like, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like I portal into a different realm. Like it feels like I am jolted with such divine energy, and I love sharing that with you. So if you felt a shift on a soul level, I'm curious to know your thoughts, and you're welcome to come back to that little spot in this episode anytime you need to release and realign. And I think I'm going to be sharing more transmissions and make it more available. But yeah, that is my favorite way of energy work right now. And again, I'm like burping, it's being released. But I feel like it's part of my mission, and I keep holding back, but I'm happy to share it with you guys. That was an honor. I love doing that. So let's get back to the ways I release emotional blocks. Number 3 is rewriting the stories that kept me stuck. So we know that our thoughts create our reality. It's the law of vibration, it's the law of attraction. And yet, as simple as it sounds, law of attraction, think positive thoughts. There's layers to it. And this is why I talk about the spiritual garage, because there are dormant things sitting in there that need to be addressed. And a part of those dormant things are the attachments. They're the thoughts that are sitting there. And for a long time, my mind personally was filled with limiting beliefs. And I didn't really realize how much they were blocking me. I just heard earlier today, I'm stupid. I'm so stupid. And it's like, I laugh about it, and I think naturally it's almost like normal that we talk to ourselves that way. But our thoughts create our reality, and I'm not stupid. The truth is, I am an intelligent, divine, connected, smart ass being. And the more we challenge our thoughts, the more we can rewrite them. And if you want to stay in your victim stupid phase of that, like, I'm so stupid, I'm not worthy, I'm gonna fail, I'm not ready, nobody cares, then you're welcome to. But nobody will get you out of that but yourself. And you only have this life to live, truly. So either you step out of that victim mentality and into alignment, or you stay there. Those are your choices. There is a practice called The Work by Byron Katie. I learned this in one of my coaching programs. It is a really powerful way of challenging your thoughts. And you can rewrite them. When you start rewriting them, you start to reflect your soul's truth instead of the lies that you've been misled to believe. Here is The Work by Byron Katie, and she wants you to ask 4 liberating questions. First, you're going to write down your belief. I'm stupid. Whatever. Number 1, is it true? No, obviously it's not true. Question number 2, can you absolutely know that it's true? So you're even questioning it further. Is it true? Do you absolutely know for it to be true? Third question, how do you react when you believe that thought? This gives you this moment of reflection and how it affects you so that you bring more awareness to the power of your thoughts. And the fourth question is, who would you be without that thought? Stepping you out of those thoughts, through the door, and into your new reality, which is your truth, your essence, your soul alignment. So practice that. And let me tell you, shifting those narratives will change everything. Number 4, connecting with my inner child, my inner Sammy. A lot of our inner wounds, our emotional wounds, come from childhood. These are the moments where we didn't feel seen, heard, or valued. And some of us have bigger traumas where we were actually very much hurt. There are small T's and little T's, I think they talk about in therapy. But even the small T's count. When you don't feel seen, valued, or heard, those stay with you, and those create your garage, your dingy garage that you need to work on. Connecting with your inner child is powerful because you have the opportunity to then sit with her, be with her, and parent her the way she deserves to be. And love my mom and dad, love you, mom and dad. But everybody needs this, not just me. I started visualizing my younger self, talking to her, holding space for her. And there's a powerful way to connect to your inner child where you then meet her regularly when you have these moments of blocks, of emotional blocks. I notice that even when I journal and I'll be going off about something and I start connecting immediately to this inner child and speaking to her, writing letters to her and telling her the things that she needed to hear but never did. And you'll see over time the resistance will soften. The resistance that you are still operating from now will soften because you are acknowledging and parenting this inner child, this part of you. So that is a key step, is connecting to your inner child, allowing them to feel supported by you, and you have the power to do that now. And lastly, number 5 is surrendering to divine guidance. This is the hardest part, but also the most freeing, is the surrender, letting go of control, trusting that your soul already knows the way. Instead of forcing things to happen, leaning into faith, leaning into your divine guidance, asking for assistance, and just trusting. Every time I surrendered, and every time I do, the right doors open, the aligned, inspired actions will happen, the ideas will just be downloaded, and the right people will come into your life, and alignment will begin. So surrender is not just a concept, it is a gateway to miracles. You are making space. Letting go of the control is making space for miracles. I actually lived this firsthand, and I shared about my fertility journey at one point where I was grieving it. I thought I couldn't get my period. I'm getting old, I'm in perimenopause, I'm not going to have my last child. Felt crazy, right? Because I already had three. But that's just my journey. I felt like I was in such a dark night of the soul with my first three, and in such postpartum depression and moving through so much that I wasn't present. And although I was so happy to have the children that I had and so blessed, I just wanted one last chance to do it again from a more aligned, fulfilled, and grounded place. And that's just my story. And lo and behold, I happen to be 27 weeks pregnant right now. The hormones are raging, and I'm obviously experiencing them right now. But this is the healing that needs to happen for us generally, is acknowledging the surrender, acknowledging the miracles, and also letting go, allowing the process. And there was a point where I thought I lost my chance. And this was the power of surrender in real life for me, that I got to experience miracles, you guys. Just miracles. Sometimes the answer is not outside of us. Well, all the time. It's within. And it is in the subtleties of the messages that we get, of the signs that we get. And it's usually the divine just calling us to surrender and let go even more. And when you do that, miracles happen. Period. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're carrying emotional weight that no longer serves you, know that there is a way through. Your soul is always calling you back home. You just have to make space to listen. I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 resonated the most? Let's continue the conversation. And if you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who might need it too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Until next time, keep listening to your inner voice. Follow me on Instagram and YouTube at Inner Voice Co. and connect with me on social. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.